On the outskirts of a small, misty village stood Evergreen Hill, a place cloaked in mystery and wonder. At its peak, nestled among ancient pines, was a harp made entirely of glass. The villagers spoke of its hauntingly beautiful music that could only be heard when the wind passed through its delicate strings. They called it the Glass Harp of Evergreen Hill and believed it held the power to heal the broken-hearted and bring peace to troubled souls. Among the villagers was a young woman named Mira. She had always been captivated by the tales of the harp, though she had never dared to climb the hill. Her mother, a gifted musician, had often told her stories of the harp's origins. It was said to have been crafted by a forgotten goddess who poured her sorrow and hope into its creation. But Mira's mother had passed away years ago, and the music that once filled their home had faded into silence. One evening, as the village prepared for a storm, Mira sat by her window, gazing at Evergreen Hill. The wind howled, and she thought she heard a faint melody drifting down from the summit. It was a sound unlike any she had ever heard, ethereal and sorrowful, yet full of longing. The music stirred something deep within her, a yearning to find the harp and play it herself. The next morning, Mira packed a small bag with bread, water, and a shawl. She told no one of her plan, fearing they would try to stop her. The climb was steep, the path winding and treacherous. The forest around the hill seemed alive, the trees swaying as if whispering secrets. But Mira pressed on, the memory of the harp's melody guiding her. As she ascended, the air grew colder, and the wind carried the harp's music more clearly. It seemed to call to her, each note weaving a story of love and loss. After hours of climbing, she reached the summit. There, in a clearing bathed in golden light, stood the glass harp. It shimmered in the sunlight, its translucent strings quivering in the breeze. Mira approached cautiously, her breath catching in her throat. She reached out a trembling hand and plucked one of the strings. The sound that emerged was pure and resonant, filling the air with a warmth that brought tears to her eyes. It was as if the harp could sense her emotions, amplifying her sorrow and hope in equal measure. Suddenly, the wind shifted, and a figure appeared from the shadows of the trees. It was an old man, his hair silver as moonlight and his eyes glinting like stars. He carried a staff carved with intricate patterns that seemed to glow faintly. "You have come to the harp," he said, his voice deep and gentle. "Few dare to seek it, and fewer still can play it. Why have you come, child?" Mira hesitated, then spoke. "I've lost my way since my mother passed. She loved music, and her songs brought joy to many. I've tried to play, but my heart feels heavy, and the notes never come out right. I thought the harp might help me find my voice again." The old man nodded. "The glass harp is no ordinary instrument. It does not merely create music, it reflects the soul of the one who plays it. If your heart is burdened, the harp will share your sorrow. If you find peace, it will echo your joy." Mira stepped closer to the harp. "Will you teach me how to play?" The man smiled. "The harp will teach you. But first, you must listen." He gestured for her to sit, and she obeyed. For hours, she listened to the wind play the harp, its melodies shifting with the breeze. She began to notice patterns, the way certain notes harmonized with the rustling leaves or the distant chirping of birds. Slowly, she reached out and plucked a string, then another, letting her fingers dance across the delicate threads of glass. At first, the music was hesitant, like a fawn taking its first steps. But as Mira's confidence grew, so did the melody. The harp responded to her touch, weaving her emotions into its song. She played her grief, her love for her mother, and her longing for connection. The music swelled, filling the clearing with a radiant energy. When she finally stopped, the old man nodded approvingly. "You have found your voice, Mira. The harp has shown you that music is not just about skill, it is about feeling. Your mother's gift lives on in you." Tears streamed down Mira's face, but they were tears of release, not sorrow. She felt lighter, as if the music had lifted the weight from her heart. The old man placed a hand on her shoulder. The harp's music will always be with you. Share it with others, and you will keep its magic alive. Mira returned to the village, her heart brimming with newfound purpose. She began to play her mother's songs again, but this time, they were infused with her own spirit. The villagers marveled at her music, which seemed to heal and inspire all who heard it. And though she never spoke of her journey to Evergreen Hill, the glass harp's melody lived on in her songs, a testament to the power of courage, love, and the magic of finding one's voice.